Hi, this is Anthony. Welcome back to my show. So, covered call ETFs are all over YouTube financial channels lately, so I thought I'd take a look at them. And if you listen to people who are advocates of them, you would think that they are the Holy Grail. But much like the real Holy Grail, it may not really exist, or it may not be what you expect it to be. So we're looking at one of the most popular ones, the S&P 500 Cover Call ETF. It's XYLD. Okay, there's 1 day there. 5 days, it's up 1.24%. 1 month, it's up almost 1%. 6 months, it's up 7.54%. Now let's stop there for a minute. And it doesn't show what the dividend is here. So we're going to look at the dividend. And let's see if this comes up with it. So according to this, the trailing 12-month distribution is 13.18%, with a distribution rate of 8.93, and it's paid monthly. Okay, and you can go into more information. I'm not going to do all the research for you. I'm just putting this on your radar, and I am definitely not necessarily recommending this for anybody. Although there's a lot of people out there that are interested in it. Okay, but we're going to go back. Okay, so 6 months, it's up a little bit. But year to date, so about 10 and a half months, we're down 4.83%. 1 year, we're down 5%. And remember, there's about 8-9% annual distribution rate, so you're not really getting that if you're losing principal. 5 years, you're down 12%, so there's principal erosion or net asset erosion. And max, you're down only 1.68% in price since 2013. But you think about what the stock market, what the S&P 500 has done since then. In fact, maybe we can look that up. We'll go here. SPY is a ticker symbol. So in 5 years, you're up 91% on the S&P 500, SPY. In 5 years, you're down 12% here. Now, again, you're making roughly maybe 8-9% dividend, so it's not as bad, but nowhere near as good, likely, as that. The max, it goes back farther than the other one, so it's not really comparable, but I mean, basically it's sideways. And also, what if you saw it going up, 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 you finally decided you're going to buy it at about 51 and change there, and then it immediately within like 2 days it drops down to 35, so you've lost almost $20 a share. If you look at the chart, and past performance is not always indicative of the future, although sometimes, to some degree it is, you see that there's periods where it goes up and up and up, and then kind of goes down, goes up a little bit, goes down, goes up, down. We may be in a period where it's going up, but is it going to go up to $45, or is it going up to $40 and then you take a big drop down to 35 or 32? So it is possible, in my opinion, if you're looking at this every day, you might be able to make a little bit of money here. But be very cautious. There's a lot of people on various channels talking about them making 8 or more percent on this. And remember, this is paid monthly, but that 8% is not how much you're making each month. That is the annualized rate, okay? A lot of people sometimes forget that. and it's easy to, but anytime they're talking about a yield or percentage, that's annualized. Okay, so this is the S&P 500 Covered Call ETF. Here's the Nasdaq 100 Covered Call ETF. Not looked at this one yet. One day it's up a little bit. 5 days it's up a little bit. Same thing with 1 month. 6 months it's up 10%. Again, it doesn't show, and I don't know why it doesn't, but it doesn't show the dividend. So let's look at the dividend yield here. According to this, and I assume it's going to be accurate, but it's AI, so do your own research on this and make sure that any figures that anyone, including myself, but certainly AI gives you is accurate. Okay, so it's paying 11.9 to 13.1%. Okay, annualized. So if you would have bought it back then, you've held it for 6 months, you're up 10%, plus you've probably made 5-6% in payouts. So not too bad if you would have got it 6 months ago. And again, I don't know what the chart's going to show us, but it could well be similar to the previous one. Okay, yeah. So year to date, you go back 6 months, you're down over here. You go back year to date, you're down 5%. Not real great. 1 year, you're down 5.75% roughly. 5 years, you're down 20%. And again, if you compare this, and this is covered calls for the Nasdaq 100. It's not the Nasdaq 100, but let's take a look at the Nasdaq 100. We can go QQQ. Okay. So 5 years, Nasdaq 100, you are up almost 110%. And that's not including probably about 1% per year in dividends, maybe a little bit more than 1%. Okay, so 5 years, you're up, we'll call it about 115%. I think that would be an accurate number. 115% in Nasdaq 100 over the past 5 years. And in the past 5 years, you're down, the net asset value is down 20%. You have been making maybe, 10% or so in dividends, but let's say that you're getting 10%, just to make it easy. 10 times 5, that's 50%, down 20%, so maybe you've made 30% in this strategy over the past 5 years. Or you could be up about 115%. Okay, and one last thing and we'll end. If you go back to 2013, so about 12 years ago or so, you're down 30%. You've lost 30% of your principal. You have been making about 10%. So maybe you're up 70-80% if you're lucky. So those are just some thoughts. Again, I'm not recommending that anybody buy this. It is certainly possible that if you got it on a dip, you might be able to make money with these things in the short term. Long term, you're probably going to see net asset valuation erosion. It's something that they rarely talk about on these various channels. Even the more legitimate channels that I respect, sometimes their guests are blinded by the downside of these, and they only see the dividends, but they ignore the net asset valuation erosion. So I'm going to end here. I'd love to hear from you. Do you have any of these? Have you thought about getting into them? Have I changed your mind about anything? Leave a comment. I always read them. I respond to them eventually. Hit like, hit subscribe, check out my other videos. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.